Thanks to Glenn and Eileen and NESBReC for inviting me along to talk to you today about the North East Scotland Bird Report. This is the 48th bird report, I believe. We're almost up to 50. It takes a year to get everything together. We've just published the 2021 report. I'm collecting the data for the 2022 report right now, and I'm also making observations for the 2023 report. So there's overlapping cycles that go on for these things. But today I'm going to do a wee plug for the bird report, tell you a few things that have gone into it. This is a photograph of little and large. This is a Sid and Eddie, as we called them. This is a lesser yellowlegs at the top and a greater yellowlegs at the bottom, seen at Strathbeg in the autumn of 2021. It's a unique occurrence. It's a pretty unique photograph. We think it's the first time in the UK that these two North American waders have been seen together at the same location. So you can read all about it in the report. So I wanted to start actually just to echo some of the things that Martin and Glenn were saying, and that's that records really matter. Records really matter for all sorts of reasons. Does anybody recognise this pigeon? Pigeon? Passenger pigeon. Well, I'm glad, Mark, that Mark, you recognise your own photograph. Yes, it's a passenger pigeon taken in 1896. But the serious point behind this photograph is that we won't be seeing passenger pigeons in North East Scotland or anywhere else. Biodiversity is under massive threat, as we all know, from anthropogenic factors such as climate change, habitat loss, etc., etc. We all know this. We can't protect what we don't know about. So that's why things like NESBReC, things like the bird report, people sending in their sightings, is really important, even for mundane species. Now, the passenger pigeon was the most abundant species in North America at the start of the 1800s. By the end of the century, you could only see them in cages, and by 1914, the last one was sadly expired. So from the most abundant species in North America to extinct in little over a century. That's just incredible. And one of my motivations for recording mundane things is the passenger pigeon. Because if it can happen to the passenger pigeon, then it can happen to anything. So it's never been more important to record, monitor changes. Longitudinal data sets over time are invaluable, and that's why North East Scotland, running since 1974, we can go back in time and look and see what the bird compositions were like back in the 1970s. But as Glenn and Martin have already said, the reason we're here today is so we can collect data, so we can make better decisions. We can inform policy interventions, we can inform legal protections, we can inform things like development sites. Okay, serious stuff over. Let's have a look at the bird report. This is how the cover has changed over the years since 1974. I think Alan Knox was the first one. Alan's not here today, but I know he wishes everybody well. So published annually since 1974. Mark, the editor, corrals a team of 20 volunteers to write the various sections. So Mark's been editor since 2015. The main part, the bulk of the report, is the summary of the bird records during the year. But since 2017, we've also had a summary of the mammal records, the reptile records, and amphibian records. And 2021 includes a section on butterflies of North East Scotland for the first time. Just for the birds, we had over 122,000 records in 2021 from 820 named contributors, and thank you to all of those, many of whom are in the room today. Yeah, it's challenging the postage of North East Scotland now. It's 216 pages, barely fits through the letterbox, but it's well worth it for £10. And yes, the last few editions we've thrown a bit of money at it, and it's gone full colour. So just while I'm talking, have a think about what you think might be the top 10 most recorded birds in 2021. Some of them are here, and I will give you the results at the end. This is our area of coverage, slightly different to NESBReC in that we only, on the northeast coast, we don't include Moray and Nairn. We go just to Finlay to Castle in northeast Scotland is about the extent on that coast there, which is great for white-billed diver sightings. We're just west of Braemar into the Cairngorms and down as far as St Cyrus. Records get received throughout the region every day, mostly from Girdle-Ness. We've got a couple of really keen eBirders and bird trackers that submit records from there. Of course, Strathbeg, really popular site, 7,000 records. Inchgarth Reservoir, just within the city, 6.3 thousand sightings in 2021. Sorry, Mark. And just behind this year was Loch of Skene and the Eithne, around 4,000 records. These few sites contribute to about a third of the records, but there are loads of places that we get nothing from. So please get out there and find us new sites, find us new places, exciting species. There's lots to discover in North East Scotland. Just to illustrate where we get the data from, mostly it's from BirdTrack. Now I took over from Nick Littlewood, who's the previous recorder, on the 1st of January 2019. And Nick had it easy. He had only sort of about 48,000 BirdTrack records and a few, about 16,000 direct submissions. In 2019, things changed a little bit. We got a lot more BirdTrack records. I started taking records from eBird as well, which has now become a lot easier. So BirdTrack and eBird are the best systems to use for recording birds. And that's the best system to get records to me as recorder for the bird report. But things have moved on since then a little bit. This is for the 2021 report. I had over 85,000 BirdTrack records, over 20,000 eBird, and from a wider range of sources. Things are coming in now. But yeah, I think lockdown had something to do with it. People really got into bird recording during lockdown, but we'd seen an increase before then. And the current 2022 bird report will have over 130,000. It's gone up again. So in the report itself, we've got the standard format of a review of the ornithological year. We've got the systematic list going through each of the species. Summary from Raymond Duncan on the Grampian Ringing Group activities, and Maurice Souter's article on birds of the Eithne, part 2. The part 1 is in the 2020 report. As I've said, we've got the first ever butterflies in North East Scotland report as part of the bird report. We've got mammals, including blubber. These are the killer whales that passed Muckles, the 27s pod, in 2021 during my daughter's driving lesson. So we made a very quick detour to make sure I got orca on my North East Scotland list. That was fantastic. And we also have the amphibians and reptiles report as well. Just a couple of example pages. In the systematic list this year, we've got 250 species of bird, and 6, those are the sort of wild and sustainable introductions of category A, B and C birds. We have 6 category E species, that's E for escape, like ringlet parakeet. We follow the BOU IOC taxonomy. For the last couple of reports, we've included the status of the birds on the Birds of Conservation Concern, so it highlights the ones that are red or amber listed. But then we have a summary of the records. As I say, we're full colour, so lots of colour photographs. Lovely photograph of the snowy owl that was up in the Cairngorms that year. Each species, where appropriate, we have some commentary on breeding evidence. So when you put in your records, please, where possible, add breeding evidence, whether the bird was singing or making a nest or there's an occupied nest, etc. And that, again, adds richness to the data. And for selected species, we have charts and tables. Just to give you an illustration of one of those charts and tables, this is for eider duck. And if you look down the bottom here, this is, again, the value of this longitudinal data set. We've got, going back, counts just in this table to 2006. And you can see 2006, over 4,000 eiders on the Eithne. The last few years, yeah, there's a story going on there. Eider numbers fluctuate on the Eithne and have done so over time, but certainly the last few years have been poor. Few of the fun birds that turned up during the year. We had our first ever Fayer's Desertus Xenos petrel. That was new to the region. The second ever greater yellowleg. So that's Eddie, that's Sid, the lesser. The third pallid harrier, fourth cackling goose. The sixth black kite was very popular. Although it was the sixth, it was one of the first that was relatively accessible. It's really one of my favourite birds of the year. I said I'd take you through the top 10 most recorded birds in 2021, and we should have the top of the pops countdown music going. But where are we? Yes, down one in 10th is the common gull. So down one since I last gave this talk for the 2019 report. Down one again is the chaffinch. We had 2,298 records of chaffinch. Down one again is the jackdaw with 2,497, but up three, our highest riser is the robin with 2,512. Then the mallard, then oystercatcher, blackbird, and the top three are actually the same as the last time I gave this talk 2 years ago. So we have the wood pigeon, 3,120, the carrion crow, 3,479, and Aberdeen's favourite bird, really, the herring gull, 3,610. And I'm sure if you stick your head out the door, you'll probably see some of these birds outside the zoology building, and you can add them to Bird Track or eBird as you do so. But yeah, the serious point though, these are the common birds that you will see virtually anywhere except the high tops in northeast Scotland. But at the moment these are abundant, these are everyday, and people we take them for granted, yeah. So what my sort of request to you is, please give us the records of the mundane stuff as well. If you see a nice large flock of wood pigeons, if you've got carrion crows nesting in the tree at the bottom of your garden, send the record in, give us the record, and it will go into the database, and it'll add to that picture that we have of the birds and the wildlife in northeast Scotland. So how can you get your hands on this fantastic tome, this weighty tome now? Today you can get some. Have you still got any left, Mark?
I think it was 3.
There's 3 left. Oh, Dave.
£10 each.
£10 each. Oh, okay.
Some back issues which are going for £5 each. That's 2020, for example.
Ever the businessman, our Dave. Yeah, okay. But if you do want to get a copy, there is a lovely website that's been constructed with lots of fantastic photographs, and some the other really important places where you can get access to the information, if you go to the SOC website, there's a section on there, the NESBReC online bird reports, and the data from the bird reports, but not the articles. That goes on with, I think it's a 2-year period of embargo. So the data from the 2019 report should be on the yeah. So the NESBReC online bird report, you can go back and have a look at all of the data from all of the Scottish bird reports, including North East Scotland. So that's a great resource. Just to reiterate, BirdTrack, please, and eBird. I can take records from those very, very easily. So that makes my life a lot easier. But also I can take in records as well. My colleague Ian Middleton, there's too many Ians in North East Scotland birding, I'm afraid. There's so many, we're all called Ian. But Ian Middleton, if you can email him at admin@northeastscotlandbirdreport.org.uk to get copies if you don't have cash today for Dave. But thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to all of the recorders. Special thanks to Mark for all his hard work that goes into to producing this. And Mark, you can give the talk next year. Okay.